Today we're taking a look at these MLB matches, which are happening on Friday, March 31st, 2023, and giving you our team and total picks for today. Welcome back to High Stakes. Before we dive into our video, don't forget to subscribe and to push the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Also check out our Patreon if you want access to our premium picks. Our Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money, and if you are interested in props and parlay picks, check out our new channel High Stakes Props and Parlays, where you can find our player props and parlay picks predictions. You will find the link to our Patreon and to our new channel in the description and comments section below. New York Mets vs Miami Marlins. This is a pretty interesting matchup between Luzardo and the Marlins versus Peterson and the Mets. Both pitchers have pretty decent numbers against their opponents, and both bullpens are relatively similar, according to the preseason rankings at Fangraphs, NIM 19, MIA 18. However, I'll go ahead and lock in the Mets on the moneyline as slight favorites today. For starters, I don't know how many opportunities we'll get to back New York on a line this low this year. So, I am going to jump on that. Statistically, Peterson has been very reliable against the Marlins in his career. Just 4 of those 51 ABs were extra base hits. Peterson's success coupled with the Mets having the overall edge in star power makes me believe that New York is the right play here. Our team pick is New York Mets money line. Miami's offense has been the bane of the franchise's existence recently. The Fish finished 27th last year in both team batting average, .230, and ops, .657. The addition of AL batting champion Luis Arias, .316 BA in 2022, will certainly help, but he's not enough of a force to change the story of the Marlins once and for all. So, all things considered, I'll take the under in this game featuring 2 starters with favorable matchups. Our total pick is under 8 points. Chicago White Sox vs Houston Astros. With Ace Javier on the mound, we should not expect the White Sox to tally 11 hits in back-to-back games. With a largely similar lineup to a year ago, Houston has the pieces and the offensive firepower to rattle off a multi-run inning at any time. Chicago is said to be more aggressive at the plate, but this philosophy will also lead to more strikeouts and chases, leaving many runners stranded. If we've learned anything over the years watching Houston, don't fade them after home loss. After a front office shakeup in the off-season, Houston is eyeing yet another World Series appearance. While it's obviously early, it should be committed to memory that Houston has been in 4 of the last 6 World Series and will potentially have some buy low spots as the season progresses. The front office additions include hires that have an analytical bias, but with a pretty similar roster compared to 2022, not much in terms of expectations have varied. Of roster note is veteran first baseman Jose Abreu, who will replace Yuli Gurriel. If Yordan Alvarez is able to stay off the injury report, he will bring some firepower to the lineup as he ended his 2022 campaign with 37 HRs. Alvarez nabbed a HR against Cease in the home opener. If Houston can shake their World Series hangover on the bats, they have an arguable Cy Young winner on the mound. Take the champs to win Game 2. Houston has loaded their ace on the mound, and we've already broken down Javier. Lynn may have lost some power as he approaches 36, but he proved to have strong control over the ball and was able to lead batters into ground balls at his best rate in 3 seasons. If Game 1 on opening day has gone under, Game 2 has an OU of 20 to 42-2. The play is the under 7.5 runs. Colorado Rockies vs San Diego Padres. While the Padres have issues with their pitching staff with guys like Musgrove and Darvish missing, the fact remains that their lineup is pretty well stacked with quality depth. Meanwhile, the Rockies were miserable as a road team when it came to offensive production last season, continuing the stark split differential from playing at Coors Field. Colorado doesn't inspire a ton of confidence as the visiting team. Freeland pitched decently on the road last season, but the lack of offensive support is going to be a problem for him. Martinez does a decent job, while the Padres bats get the job done to give the victory to the hosts. Our team pick is San Diego Padres minus 1.5 runs. San Diego made several big moves last season, including adding Juan Soto and Josh Hader before the trade deadline. Those moves helped the team earn a wild card spot, and they advanced to the NL Championship Series before falling to the Phillies. San Diego was active again in the offseason, signing Xander Bogaerts to an 11-year deal worth $280 million. They brought in Nelson Cruz and Matt Carpenter to bring in more veteran bats, while adding arms in Michael Wacha, plus Seth Lugo. San Diego also re-signed Robert Suarez and Nick Martinez, while hammering out extensions with Manny Machado and Yu Darvish. There were some losses in the offseason as Mike Clevenger, Sean Manny and Pierce Johnson are gone from last season's pitching staff. Meanwhile, Josh Bell, Brandon Drury, Will Myers, Jurickson Profar and Jorge Alfaro are hitters that departed, though the Padres still have plenty of talent to work with this season. The early part of the season will be a bit bumpy with Drew Pomeranz, Joe Musgrove and Suarez all started the year on the Illinois, while Darvish is getting up to speed after pitching for Japan in the World Baseball Classic. The Padres' offense could pop tomorrow and score 5 or 6 runs on their own. Their offense was led by Bogaerts in the first game, and if the rest of the lineup can follow suit, look out Colorado. The Rockies could find their rhythm again after an inspiring performance from Cron. The offense could be buzzing from both teams on Friday night. Take the over on Friday. Arizona Diamondbacks vs Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers took 14 of 19 matchups straight up against the D-backs last season, and over the last 3 seasons, they are 38-10 against them. They went 7-2 when they welcomed them to Dodger Stadium last season. With Kelly on the hill for Arizona, expect the Los Angeles offense to knock the ball around the park. The D-back starter gave up 6 home runs in 5 starts against the Dodgers last year, so you can almost expect 1 or 2 to leave the yard as well. The Diamondbacks were 94-68 versus the run line last season, despite their straight-up record landing under .500. Friday's starter Kelly was one of just 4 pitchers in all of baseball to start 33 games in 2022. He made 5 of those starts versus Los Angeles, going 0-5 with an 8.25 ERA. The Arizona starter did register his second straight 13-win campaign over his last 4 seasons, and his 3.37 ERA was 16th best in the National League. The Dodgers were by far Kelly's kryptonite last season as they wore him down, hitting .330 with a 1.045 OPS. Last season the Dodgers finished with the best record in baseball straight up and were 97-62 against the run line. May is a guy who has shown immense potential when he has been healthy, but unfortunately for him and the team he hasn't been that much. He missed much of last season as he recovered from Tommy John surgery that took most of the season prior. May did get back late last season and made 6 starts before being shut down again with back spasms. He looked excellent in the spring, but you can bet that manager Dave Roberts will look to limit his workload early. Lifetime, May is 0-1 with a 13.50 ERA in 5.1 innings against the D-backs. In his 5 starts against LA, the team lost by 3 or more in all but 1 and outscored Arizona 28-7. In 9 games the 2 teams played at Dodger Stadium last year, the hosts outscored their guests 52-41. Our team pick is Los Angeles minus 1.5 runs. Last season both of these teams saw more than 80 of their games land under the total, including 9 of the last 10 meetings between them. In that span, the Dodgers have held Arizona to 2 or less runs on 7 occasions. Despite how lopsided the head-to-head is, things tend to be low scoring when they get together. No team has scored more than 6 runs in those last 10 meetings, and half of those games had a total of 6 or fewer runs. We know Arizona's young bats are just that, young, and still trying to find their way. I wouldn't expect them to do so in the second game of the season. The Dodgers' big bats are probably not fully warmed up either, but there are enough of them that at least 1 or 2 will snap early and get some runs on the board for themselves, but not the whole. Covers.com's trends let us know that the under is 7-0 in May's last 7 starts during Game 2 of a series. Take the under 8 runs. Cleveland Guardians vs Seattle Mariners. The Mariners had an average offense last season, but they improved their offense in the offseason with the likes of Teoscar Hernandez, who hit 25 home runs for the Blue Jays last season, and Colton Wong. As a team, they did a better job against right-handers, and they're facing Gaddis, who lost both of his starts as a rookie last season. He gave up 15 runs and 7 home runs in 7.1 innings last season, with opponents having a .405 batting average against him, so expect the Mariners to play well offensively in this game. The Guardians also played well offensively last season, scoring more than 4.5 runs per game on the road. But they didn't hit the ball as well against left-handers and struggled against Ray, who is 2-0 in 3 starts against them. He gave up 9 hits and no runs in 2 starts against the Guardians last season and will keep their offense in check once again, so go with Seattle to cover the money line. The Mariners finished second in the AL West last season and managed to snap their 20-year playoff drought. With the monkey finally behind them, they will try to build on last year's success and make a return trip to the playoffs. They weren't very explosive offensively last season and addressed some of their offensive issues by acquiring players like Teoscar Hernandez and Colton Wong through trades, while signing free agents like AJ Pollock, who is hoping for a bounce-back year after a disappointing season in Chicago. Seattle averaged 4.27 runs per game last season. Their .230 batting average was 27th in the league. Their .315 on-base percentage was 16th, while their .390 slugging percentage was 17th. Julio Rodriguez led Seattle with a .284 batting average. Eugenio Suarez led the team with 31 home runs and 87 RBI. Seattle's pitching was very good, with the team giving up 3.86 runs per game. Opponents had a .235 batting average against the Mariners, which was 10th in the league. Their 3.59 ERA was 8th, as was their 1.19 WHIP. In his last start against the Guardians, Ray gave up 6 hits and no runs in 6 innings, leading to a 4-0 win for the Mariners. They will need a similar effort from him if they want to get the win. The total has finished under in 6 of Cleveland's last 7 overall, and in 4 of the last 5 games that Cleveland has played on the road. In 7 games played between late August and early September last season between Cleveland and Seattle, the total finished under in 6 of the 7, including finishing under in each of the 4 that were played in Seattle. Our total pick under.